The ceremony will now come to order. Good evening. I'm Provost Robert Lieberman, and I'm honored to serve as Chief Marshal for this convocation ceremony. At this time, we welcome to the podium Ms. Lucy Delgado, representing the new Student Orientation Corps team.
I would like to introduce two of JHU's a cappella groups, the Sirens and the Vocal Cords, to sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Good evening, class of 2019. My name is Lucy Delgado, and I am the Director of Programming for New Student Orientation. I have worked for the past few months with the rest of my core team to create an orientation experience that would make the start of your time here smooth, easy, and fun. We want it to be that nesting ground for all of you to learn how to spread your wings here and fly. So you might be asking yourselves, what does it take to learn how to fly? Well, first you need to know where to go. You have spent the week learning about everything that it takes to be a Hopkins student, from going to academic open houses to what it means to be a responsible member of this community. We have guided you through different Baltimore neighborhoods and have shown you just a small sample of the eclectic offerings available to explore here. You lit up the night and shared what your S was with all of us. And tonight, you actually walked through the front doors of Homewood House and into your brand new home here at Johns Hopkins University. But in the end, it is up to each of you to choose your own flight path with what we've given you. What I do want you to remember is that the process of figuring out who you want to be and where you want to go will not always be perfect. You might not get it right the first time. There might even be times when you feel like you're going in the wrong direction. I say, let your feathers be ruffled. Sink into new experiences that began with this orientation week. There will be many more to come, from your first college exam to your first spring fair. They might not all go as you hope, but just keep flying. From my own experience, I can tell you that there will be smoother winds ahead. Most of all, it's knowing that some of the best journeys aren't done alone. Look around this crowd. You have 1,305 other Blue Jays that start this ride with you, but there is a bigger flock out there too. When the tough times come, find those people that will take you under their wing. In my time here at Hopkins and in Baltimore, I have found that I can call friends, mentors, and fellow scholars to fly with me. For you, it may be your awesome first-year mentor, or even that person you met at speed friending. Whoever they may be, continue to find your flock here. With that, I dare all of you to soar to new heights. You are forever a Blue Jay. Go Hop! One more time now. Forever a Blue Jay. Go Hop! At this time, it is my honor to introduce Jason Plush, the Student Government Association Executive President. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 2019, it is my honor to welcome all of you to campus. It is wonderful to see so many new faces on campus as we all prepare to embark on another year here at Johns Hopkins. As you spent the past few days getting adjusted to life here on campus, words of advice and suggestions have been and will continue to fill your heads. Whether it's choosing the right classes within your major, figuring out what clubs and extracurriculars are right for you, navigating the social scene and which parties to go to, or whether or not it's acceptable to only call your parents once a week, your heads have been consumed by potential decisions. It seems near impossible to be addressing you tonight as a speaker at Convocation, because it felt like a moment ago when I was sitting in one of those seats surrounded by my class members in the class of 2016. At Hopkins, the most important recommendation that I can give to you is to use your time wisely, because here, time is everything. Time flies by while you're on campus, and I can't emphasize enough that what you do with your time is entirely up to you. Don't be afraid to take risks and try new things as you become adjusted to college life. There are numerous ways to get immersed in this wonderful campus, whether it's joining any of our 300+ student organizations, becoming a part of an athletic team, or seeking out potential research opportunities. I chose to become involved on the ice hockey team, the admissions office, student government, and a social fraternity on campus. And joining these groups, I can say, has positively influenced my overall experience here at JHU. As you are all anxious and excited to explore these opportunities, it is also critical to recognize that time management and finding a balance between your schoolwork, activities, and social life is absolutely essential. It is challenging to find this balance. I still struggle to find it at times. However, it ultimately makes you the most successful and, more importantly, the happiest you can be during your time at Hopkins. Be patient as you strive to find this balance. Embrace the challenges of studying for your first round of midterms, being away from home for the first time, and learning to become independent. As you find the balance, you will make friends along the way that will last a lifetime, friends that will remain close to you for the rest of your life, and who will ultimately influence the person you become over the course of your 4 years here. Explore what this university has to offer. Go support your Blue Jays at athletic competitions. See your friends and peers perform at Shriver Hall. Go to barbecues and events out on the quad. Head down to the Inner Harbor and explore the eclectic city of Baltimore. And most importantly, learn from all of the lessons you encounter along the way. The path you choose to take over the next 4 years will shape the man or woman you become. Enjoy every minute of it and make the most of it. And as Lucy said, while you're only a student here once, you're forever a Blue Jay. Thank you. At this time, it is my privilege to introduce Trustee Charles Sheeler.
Good evening. On behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, I am delighted to welcome the class of 2019 to Johns Hopkins. As I looked at your class profiles, I was overwhelmed by your collective achievements. By every measure, you are an extraordinarily accomplished group, and we expect to applaud your accomplishments not only in the next 4 years, but throughout your lives. You're a class with big dreams. You've come to the right place to make those dreams happen. There are few universities anywhere in the world with the kind of resources you will find here. At Hopkins, we will give you the opportunity to be and do what you want. Now, some of you may know exactly what you want to study. Some of you don't know what your calling will be. Either way, make sure that after 4 years here, you have no regrets about playing it too safe. Try new and different experiences. Take risks, although from your earlier reaction, perhaps don't take too many risks with speed friending. But we all learn from failure as well as success. You have the incredible opportunity to take full advantage of the intellectual stimulation that Hopkins offers, which includes superb professors and fascinating courses, the opportunity to do original research, lectures, events, and conferences that explore some of the most pressing global and legal and local issues. And of course, learning from each other, which may be the best life experience of all. When you walk across the stage to receive your Hopkins diploma, you will know that you are prepared to make a difference in this world. But we all know that preparing for the rest of your life involves much more than your academic pursuits. So, have fun. Enjoy social activities and establish relationships with some of the most interesting people that you will ever meet. One of the most important things that you do here will be to establish friendships that you will cherish throughout your entire life. Engage with the community and give back, whether it's the community here in Baltimore that you've seen so recently or somewhere around the globe. President Daniels has made community engagement one of the university's key priorities. Your involvement will make a difference. You will find meaning by finding a cause larger than yourself. But most of all, by helping others, you will enrich your own life. Because knowing how to engage with the world will allow the world to know how to engage your talents. Again, I'm delighted to welcome you as the newest member of the Hopkins family and wish you the best at the start of your Hopkins journey.
Vice Provost David Phillips will now present the class of 2019.
Welcome, class of 2019. It is so great to see you guys. From admissions, to be able to see the people that are behind those near 25,000 applications we read is a very exciting moment for us. You've gotten a lot of sage advice here today. I want to brag on you guys a little bit. I want to tell you a little bit about who you are as a group and what we saw in you. You certainly set the academic bar high. You set it higher than any other class in Johns Hopkins history. You represent many different backgrounds. You come from many different places, 46 states, 35 countries. You have an amazing breadth of interest both in and out of the classroom. But what consistently leapt off the pages in your applications was your creativity, your passion for discovery, and your passion to be involved. Where no club or activity existed, you created one. When one did exist, you had the vision to lead it, to involve others, and to pursue new directions. You cared deeply about your classmates, your communities, and the most pressing issues that face the world. And as I said, you expressed that in so many ways. 85% of you were involved in community service. 74% of you were involved in the arts, in theater, film, painting, photography, dance, sculpture, writing, music. 30% of you expressed deep fascination with cultures, studying an unfamiliar one, or trying to gain a deeper understanding of your own. 88% of you were athletes and teammates. 26% of you were leaders in student government. 43% of you did all these activities while also maintaining work or family responsibilities. For 73% of you, your intellectual curiosity is so strong that you took your academic interest beyond the classroom and pursued it on your own time. 52% were involved in an activity that defied categorization on that almighty common application. What you did not fit into a predefined category. Now, I know those numbers add up to a lot more than 100%. That's because you didn't do one of those things, you all did many of those things. Passion for discovery, the desire to make an impact are a big part of the Johns Hopkins ethos. Your varied and unique expressions of those qualities is what makes us so excited to see how much you will develop here and how much you're going to impact Johns Hopkins. With that, President Daniels, would you join me at the podium? Mr. President, I am pleased to present to you the class of 2019, impassioned in their pursuit of knowledge, leaders in their schools and communities, and a group that will greatly contribute to the Johns Hopkins community, Baltimore, and the world. I look forward to seeing their rise to greatness.
Thank you. Thank you very much, David. I just was wondering, though, you went through all the statistics of all the things that people had done, the clusters and the multiple things that they did. But you told me there was one person who did none of those things. Would you mind identifying him for me? Now, there. Thank you. Thank you, Dave. Good evening. I usually don't have someone who readily jumps up and embraces with such enthusiasm their lack of any particular achievement at all. Would you please sit down? Thank you again, and thank you to our entire orientation team for their work in getting you all here, and to the sirens, the vocal cords, and the Archipelago Project for the soundtrack to tonight's festivities. Welcome, of course, to the parents, siblings, and friends who are watching from around the world. And of course, welcome. Welcome to the great class of 2019. You should do. So I want to ask you tonight, and I want to start my remarks with a very simple request, and that is, would you mind taking out your cell phones? No, it's okay. I know that as you have been receiving the sage wisdom from your elders up here, you've been using your cell phones in any event. So just, if you wouldn't mind taking a look at your cell phones, you can wave them at me if you want. But know that the device, thank you, the device you hold in your hand has about 100 times more the processing power than this. Okay, that's not a vehicle from Star Wars, The Force Awakens. It's the spacecraft New Horizons that in mid-July recorded the first ever close-up pictures of Pluto. I just want to put it out there, in the run-through tonight that just took place about an hour and a half ago, we did that without music, and I think it really mixed something. So I really appreciate the crew here getting that together, because it created a special moment. Well, that, at least for me, and that one person in the back of no particular achievement really liked the music. So it was designed, built, and is controlled by a team of scientists and engineers at the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory, or APL as we know it. But what I'd like to do tonight is to put this mission in the context of you. When New Horizons began its historic flyby journey in 2006, you had roamed the Earth for 9 years. The iPhone launch was still a year away. Twitter had exactly 0 users, and Pluto was still a planet. Nearly a decade later, as you were making preparations to land at Hopkins, searching out future classmates on Facebook, and navigating the aisles of Bed Bath & Beyond for dorm supplies, New Horizons was making its final approach towards Pluto, navigating the outer reaches of our solar system to upend our understanding of its planets. You may have seen the pictures if you followed us on Twitter. What you may not know is the backstory of what it took to get them. Let's begin with the fact that the mission almost didn't happen. Funding was tight, and APL and its collaborators had to fight to get New Horizons off the ground. To do so, in a very tough climate, they assured Congress that they would deliver a spacecraft that would achieve its ambitious scientific aims, but for half the initial budgeted costs. And so Congress agreed, and APL and its partners completed the mission, and in record time. But I'm jumping the gun. There's more to this story. Fast forward to 2011. The team is 5 years into the mission. With the help of the Hubble Space Telescope, the New Horizons team is already gleaning a clearer, better picture of the space around Pluto, even allowing scientists to identify new moons in Pluto's orbit. In this case, clearer images also created a clearer understanding of the enormous, enormous risks confronting the mission. Along with uncovering those previously unknown moons, scientists feared that these moons might throw off debris into the Pluto system that could batter the spacecraft on its flyby mission. It turns out that when flying at about 30,000 miles per hour, it only takes a particle the size of a grain of rice to knock the craft out, something roughly this size. That is a grain of rice. You can see it right there. Now, thanks to the laws of kinetic energy, that rice grain becomes, as you know, the equivalent of a speeding bullet, literally. At this point, knowing this risk, the team had to start to troubleshoot. As it was as if you had to cram 4 years of increasingly complex physics courses, homework, and lab experiments into one single weekend. It's like that, except exceptionally harder and happening as your spacecraft and the hopes of so many hurdles through space. To manage this challenge, our APL colleagues had to calculate risks and consider alternative trajectories to Pluto. They had to confront the possibility that the only way to protect the spacecraft as it flew through the debris field would be to turn the spacecraft's cameras and instruments away from Pluto, thereby jeopardizing the mission. It would mean that they would have to sacrifice the epic scientific discovery they hoped for in order to preserve the chance of any discoveries at all. Now, luckily, the ultimate answer to this problem was was that New Horizons had a 1 in 10,000 chance of being hit through the debris field. So with 2 weeks left in the mission, the team leaders decided to stay the course. That is until the afternoon of July 4th, 2015, when the spacecraft suddenly went silent. As Alice Bowman, the mission's operations manager at APL, rightly observed, watching over this mission is like parenting a teenager. You send it out into the world well-equipped and hope that it calls home once in a while. Your parents asked me to use that quote so that you would get the meaning of the grand metaphor. Well, that afternoon, New Horizons stopped calling home. And the leaders soon figured out that the craft was still connected, but it had gone into safe mode after its computers overloaded with too many commands. So Alice and her team, that included the project manager, systems engineer, and several others, spent a very intense holiday weekend convincing the spacecraft that everything was okay and it could proceed with the mission. And they succeeded in uploading the final flight plan with a week to spare before the once-in-a-lifetime flyby. And the only thing left to do was hope that New Horizons would make history. And after 9.5 years and 3 billion miles, it did just that. Of course, with the spacecraft flying 3 billion miles away, it actually takes more than 4 hours for transmissions to travel back to Earth at the speed of light, and several hours after for the messages to be processed. So we had to wait just a little bit longer to get the final confirmation. But when it came, well, see for yourself.
We have a healthy spacecraft. We've recorded data of the Pluto system, and we're outbound for Pluto.
I had the amazing good fortune of being at APL with our collaborators and friends from NASA and the Southwest Research Institute when they celebrated that moment when the New Horizons signal reached Earth. It was both an extraordinary and indeed a very ordinary day at your university. Because you see, Hopkins is a place that refuses to be derailed by daunting problems, a place that embraces the thrill of intellectual risk-taking to solve those problems as they arise. And I believe we succeed because we are also a place where unparalleled collaboration opens avenues to new ideas and unites individual talents in a whole that is much greater, much greater than the sum of its parts. It's just who we are. And by that I mean all of us, it is just who we are. This is true of the surgeons, scientists, physicists, engineers, and nurses who are bringing new treatments to pediatric cancer patients. It's true of our economists, sociologists, and data scientists who are addressing the entrenched social, economic, and racial inequalities that plague our cities. And it is true of Alice Bowman, Peter Bendini, Glenn Fountain, Chris Hersman, and Mark Holdridge, the members of the New Horizons team who are here with us tonight. Would you please stand? We're so glad you're here. We knew that the class of 2019 might like to meet you, but the critical issue is, at the end of these speeches, that curtain will fall, there's going to be some amazing desserts, and you're going to have to do a whole lot of selfies with a whole lot of these people. You are our rock stars, so we're really pleased you're with us tonight. What we saw in these folks, we see in you. We see the same spirit of imagination and intellectual daring in each of you, not simply because of your transcripts and test scores, that is one snapshot, but because of the extraordinary, extraordinary stories that lie behind your arrival at this moment. Now, your journey from convocation to commencement will take a little less than half the time of New Horizons' trip to Pluto and significantly less than the 3 billion miles. But like the New Horizons team, you and your team of supporters have set your sights high and you've fought hard to get this mission off the ground. And along the way, you may find yourself facing an unexpected debris field, one you could not have anticipated when you began. It may take the form of exams in organic chemistry. Every time, it seems to me over the last 7 years, when I try and use a metaphor for the most demanding, difficult class at Johns Hopkins, I'm sort of saying it is always organic chemistry. Organic chemistry is truly unfairly criticized. It is actually at Hopkins, it is one of the most straightforward, simple, easy courses. Please have no apprehension whatsoever. It's a cakewalk. You may find challenges when you receive your first critique on your first short story, or when you face longtime rivals on Homewood Field. And you may just sail through that experience. But you may also have to navigate a different path to your destination, or an unexpected encounter may set you on an entirely new trajectory, personally or professionally. A meeting with a patient while you were volunteering at a clinic, a poetry class you took because it fit your schedule, or perhaps a coffee with a person sitting next to you that turns into the relationship of a lifetime. And here I tell you, with all due sincerity, we at Johns Hopkins aim to be a full-service organization and are concerned with your romantic achievements as much as your intellectual ones. So, know whatever your course, we know that you will fit in very well here. At Hopkins, we do big things. Sometimes they happen in a moment. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And if we can get to this with less than the power of this, we know that you hold in your hands and minds the power to do so much more. To the class of 2019, bon voyage. Welcome to the Johns Hopkins family.
Thank you, President Daniels. Please remain with me at the podium for the class banner presentation. I would also ask that Mr. Jay Lenrow, a 1973 graduate of the Zanville Krieger School of Arts and Sciences, a member of the Board of Trustees, and president of the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association, join us. Class banners are a Johns Hopkins tradition dating back to 1881. The Alumni Association asked the members of the class of 2019 to design a banner that shows your class pride. This year, members of your class submitted banner designs. The class of 2019 voted on its favorite designs, and the final decision was placed in your hands. I am pleased to announce that the winner of the class of 2019 banner competition was designed by Esther Hong. At this time, I would like to call Esther Hong and Anita Louie, the first place winner of the essay contest, to come to the stage to present the banner for the class of 2019.
Thank you, Esther and Anita. I accept this banner with great anticipation of the important and lasting contributions the members of this class will make in the coming years on campus and off. As students and members of our alumni family, we will display it proudly here on campus in the Eisenhower Library. Thank you all. Now, as you know, each of your schools, the Krieger School of Arts and Sciences and the Whiting School of Engineering, is named for a great benefactor. And each school has its own important traditions and legacies. And we're now going to hear from the deans of the Krieger and Whiting schools, two great academic leaders who bring amazing enthusiasm, intellect, warmth, and vision to their schools. We're going to begin with the Dean of the Krieger School of Arts and Sciences, Beverly Wendland, and she will be followed by Ed Schlesinger, Dean of the Whiting School of Engineering. Please join me in welcoming Dean Wendland.
Good evening. On behalf of the Krieger School of Arts and Sciences, I bring a warm, warm welcome to the class of 2019. Let's hear it. You are the newest members of our Johns Hopkins family, and I want to tell you a little bit about who we are. First and foremost, we are a community of learners, always on the hunt for new knowledge that might solve a particular problem or answer a certain question. We are willing to take long shots, like the New Horizons mission to Pluto that President Daniels mentioned. We are curious about the world around us. We want to know how things work. We explore new ways of working with other disciplines to solve the world's most vexing problems. We are risk takers. We are open to the possibility that our research, our course of study, might lead to something wholly unexpected. We know how important it is to be ready for anything, to be receptive to new ideas. We are motivated. We are hardworking. We are confident. We are enthusiastic. We are the Johns Hopkins family, and I welcome you to our ranks. And it's okay if you don't see yourself in all of those descriptions I just noted. No one can solve the world's problems overnight. You are here to grow and to learn. You might fall down a couple of times in your quest for new knowledge, and that's okay too. In fact, trial and error, turning being wrong into the excitement of more to learn and to discover, is at the core of all research. There is one thing that you can do to prepare yourself for membership in our world-class family and our world-class Hopkins community, and that is try something new. Take a course in a field that is totally unrelated to the one that you've chosen. Get involved in volunteer work. Join a club that engages in something you've never considered before. Don't just step out of your comfort zone, leap out of it. That is how you will develop the resilience to bounce back when you are faced with the unexpected. For me, trying something new changed the entire course of my career. I grew up in California, where I had the sort of experience of being in some big earthquakes, and that caused me to want to know more about them, and I became quite fascinated with how they worked. I wanted to learn everything I could about them. That interest continued into my early adulthood, and I started out by majoring in geophysics when I started in college. But then, just to try something new, I took a course in zoology, and it was amazing. It opened my eyes to the creative possibilities of science, and I became fascinated with conducting elegant experiments that might demonstrate how certain biological systems work. I had found my true passion, and I ended up changing my major, and I never looked back. So, whether you plan to study the humanities, the natural sciences, or the social sciences, keep in mind that doing one new thing could have an extremely profound effect on your life. So don't miss out on those opportunities. So I look forward to meeting many of you in person over the coming weeks and months, and I wish all of you a productive and fulfilling semester. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce my colleague, Ed Schlesinger, the Benjamin T. Rome Dean of the Whiting School of Engineering. Since he arrived on our campus in January of 2014, he has demonstrated a deep commitment to our undergraduates. He's taught electrical engineering. He helped launch a paid summer internship program for engineering students at JHU's Applied Physics Lab. And over the course of the year, he and his wife managed to invite every first-year engineering student to their home to enjoy a home-cooked meal. So please join me in welcoming Dean Schlesinger.
I'm very pleased to add my welcome to all of you to Johns Hopkins and the Homewood campus. And I want to follow up a little bit about, in the same vein as President Daniels spoke about, with regards to the power that you have to change the world, especially today. Throughout history, the hallmark of technological advances is that it has put the power, authority, and capabilities that were previously reserved for institutions into the hands of individuals. As President Daniels noted, the phone you are Snapchatting on right now, as I speak, could give you the means to reshape the way we communicate, to diagnose diseases, to overthrow a government, or even to order a pizza. Technological advances have always empowered the individual. It was movable type that brought printed materials to the masses. In the 1400s, books were written by teams of scribes who were expensive and time-consuming to create. But in 1455, Gutenberg, using a printing press and a 9th century Chinese invention, movable type, produced about 200 Latin Bibles. And like the Harry Potter books, these Bibles were sold before he'd even finished printing them. And though they still were expensive to produce and their printing ultimately bankrupted Gutenberg, business is business after all, the technology he used sparked a revolution. Soon, books and access to information was no longer reserved for the institutions of the day, the church or the lord of the manor. Literacy soared, authorship started to matter, and new ideas could spread faster than ever before. The Protestant Reformation, the Renaissance, and the Scientific Revolution were ultimately made possible by this growth in literacy, informed discussion, sharing of ideas made possible by this technological advances. More recently, we've seen similar technology-driven revolution in the music industry, an industry that until just a few years ago was premised on the fact that it takes institutions and lots of money to record and distribute music. Corporate institutions controlled the market, which meant they decided which musicians would receive recording contracts and how their music would be marketed and distributed. But now, the creation and dissemination of music is in your hands, thanks to technology. Importantly, individuals have the means to record, promote, distribute, and test their creativity in the marketplace as individuals. This is a positive and overwhelmingly positive development. It encourages creativity. It quite literally gives voice to so many more talented musicians than previously would have been heard. And it enables the individual consumers to play a far more direct role in determining the status of music and musicians. Of course, like all technological advances and democratization, so too in the music industry, it's not without its drawbacks. The rise of Justin Bieber, for example. In the realm of politics and freedom of the press, the past few years have seen a dramatic shift in power, from institutions to individual citizens and the public as a whole. Technology, cell phones, and social media enabled the Arab Spring. It enabled Julian Assange and WikiLeaks to reveal the content of secret diplomatic cables about Iraq and Afghanistan, and Edward Snowden to reveal classified materials concerning the NSA's intelligence activities. And regardless of your opinion on the ethics of their action, these individuals could not do what they did as individuals were it not for the technology that was at their disposal. A very different situation than the role, for example, of the institution of the New York Times during the Vietnam War and the Pentagon Papers. Namely, they could disseminate information globally that at that time required institution. So where does all of this leave you? It leaves you in a position of tremendous power, a power that continues to grow. Indeed, institutions like Johns Hopkins University are an expression of this power, of the value of disruptive innovations, the sharing of new ideas, the creation of knowledge, and the mission of having individual impact in the world. Here, you will be encouraged to be creative, to engage in dialogue about complex issues, to define your own individual path, to discover, to connect, and to collaborate. You will become the innovators, the risk takers, the visionaries who create and use the revolutionary tools that will define your generation. I don't know what you'll create. I don't know what you will do. I don't know what impact you will have in our community, our nation, and the world, but I can't wait to see what you will do and what you will create and what you will accomplish, because I have confidence, complete confidence in you that you will ultimately make the world a much, much better place. Welcome to Johns Hopkins.
At this time, I'd like to welcome Vice Provost Kevin Schallenberger to the podium.
How you guys doing? Good? Yeah? So this ceremony actually ends our new student orientation program. Whether it was I know, it's sad. But whether it was the excitement of the welcome on Homewood Field, the educational sessions on alcohol, consent, or safety, the opportunity to explore our great city, or to engage in the book read of The Beautiful Struggle, and lots of great food. Our goal for orientation was to really prepare you to fully engage as members of the Blue Jay family. We're excited to have you join our community and look forward to witnessing the amazing things you will do in the years to come. So even though orientation is over, we know this is just the start of your transition to the community. So be assured there is ongoing programming to help you make this adjustment and continue to learn about the wonderful opportunities and resources available to you. And also know that you have many people here to support you. As a matter of fact, hundreds, whether they are your classmates, your RAs, your faculty, your staff, your mentors, that they are here to help you learn and thrive. When you need help, the first step is simply to ask. I also really want to reiterate what Lucy and Jason said. A successful college career is about making sure that your work to earn a degree is enhanced by pursuing interests that complement your studies. Through your involvement outside of the classroom, you will not only make friends, but will build valuable networks, gain career-ready skills, build your confidence in leading, and be exposed to diverse ideas and experiences. As the official kickoff of your undergraduate career, this ceremony bookends commencement. 4 years from now, which will go very quickly, you will gather for the last time in a formal procession. You will be presented by the dean of your school as a degree candidate and celebrated as a class. However, even then, you will still be members of a great worldwide network of the Hopkins community. All of you have potential to do great things in your chosen fields, in your lives, and for the world. It's very exciting to look out and see the brilliant scholars and leaders already among you, and so much promise ahead. So I hope you'll always remember this ceremony, orientation, and carry the feelings of this forward with you, not only through the next 4 years, but for the rest of your life. What has started here this week is something that you will carry with you for years to come. So tonight, we are fortunate to have many of the people here to welcome you as part of your support network that I just mentioned, your RAs, faculty, staff, and mentors. And so I'm going to ask everyone to please rise. Please stand up. And again, help me in celebrating our newest Blue Jays, the class of 2019. please stay standing.
We thank you for your presence here tonight and wish every member of the class of 2019 a great year here at Johns Hopkins. At this time, please join us in singing the new adaptation of the Johns Hopkins University Ode. The words can be found on the screens and in your program.
Please be seated. We thank you all for joining us here today, and on behalf of everyone on stage, we wish the great class of 2019 the utmost success at Johns Hopkins. I have a couple of announcements before we conclude. Everyone in attendance this evening is invited to a dessert reception immediately following the recessional. The reception will be held behind you at the opposite end of the gymnasium. During the recessional, the members of the class of 2019 are asked to, this is the last moment of restraint you'll have to show this evening. The members of the class of 2019 are asked to remain seated. That's quite a tease. First, there's dessert, and then you have to stay sitting down. Until the recession of the principals, officials, and members of the faculty is complete. The first convocation of the class of 2019 is now adjourned.